The sun was low over the small town highway as a line of rumbling bikes pulled into the old gas station. Chrome glowed in the light. Leather vests flashed patches and names as the riders killed their engines one by one. Reaper swung his leg off his bike and stretched his back. It was supposed to be a simple charity ride. Fuel up, hit the open road, meet the other chapters by noon. Tank grabbed a bottle of water from the cooler. You think the crowd will be big today? Reaper shrugged. People always show up when there are cameras and shiny bikes. The men laughed softly. They looked rough. Tattoos, scars, dark glasses. But their voices were calm, familiar. They had ridden together for years. Bull checked his phone. We are running late. Reaper nodded. 5 minutes, then we roll. That was when they heard it. A small voice at the edge of the lot. Excuse me. No one moved at first. They were used to strange looks. People normally crossed the street when they saw a pack of bikers. No one walked up to them on purpose. Excuse me, please. Reaper turned. A little boy stood on the cracked pavement, 6 or 7 years old at most. Dust on his sneakers, dried dirt on his shirt. His brown hair stuck to his forehead with sweat. His eyes were too big for his small face. You lost, kid. Reaper kept his tone gentle. The boy shook his head. No, I need help. Ghost, the quietest of the group, stepped closer. Where are your parents? The boy pointed to the road behind him. Mommy will not wake up. His voice shook. Please, you have to follow me home. The bikers exchanged looks. This could be a trick. They all knew stories of people luring riders into traps. Still, there was something in the child's eyes, a mix of terror and stubborn courage. How far is home, son? Reaper asked. Not far. By the old park, please. I ran all the way here. Tank crouched down to the boy's level. What is your name? Tyler. He swallowed hard. Mommy told me never to talk to strangers. But I waited and no police came and no neighbors were home. Then I heard your bikes, and I thought maybe you are the good kind of strangers. The words hit Reaper like a punch. The good kind of strangers. A choice was in front of him. Leave and make the ride on time, or trust a scared child. He looked at his brothers. If this is nothing, we lose an hour. If it is real and we walk away, a kid goes home alone. Bull put his phone away. Charity ride can wait. Ghost nodded once. I will take point. Reaper squeezed Tyler's shoulder. All right, show us the way. The engines roared back to life. Tyler climbed onto the back of Reaper's bike, tiny arms wrapping around the leather vest. As they rolled out of the station, the boy's voice was barely a whisper in Reaper's ear. Please hurry. I think my mommy is dying. Wind tore at Reaper's jacket as they picked up speed. The town blurred past. Front yards, old cars, closed shops. He kept one eye on the road and one on the small hands holding tight to him. For the first time that day, the ride did not feel like freedom. It felt like a race against time. The bikes followed Tyler through the quiet neighborhood until the houses thinned out and a line of old trees appeared. The boy pointed toward a narrow gravel road. Turn here. Reaper slowed, and the others followed. The path led to a worn trailer sitting alone at the edge of a field. Paint peeled from the sides. One window was cracked. A silence hung over the place that felt wrong. Tyler jumped off the bike before it fully stopped. She is inside. Please hurry. Reaper signaled the others. Bull, with me. Tank, watch the outside. Ghost, check the back. They ran to the door. It was slightly open. A faint smell drifted out. Heat, stale air, something else. Reaper pushed inside. The trailer was dim. Curtains blocked most of the light. The living room was small and cluttered. Toys on the floor, an empty bottle on the counter, a baby crib in the corner with a little girl inside, crying softly. Mommy is in her room. Tyler pulled Reaper toward a narrow hallway. They reached a bedroom. A young woman lay on the bed, pale, weak, barely breathing. Her lips were dry, her shirt clung to her skin. She did not move when they entered. Reaper knelt beside her. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" No response. Bull checked the small kitchen. No water, nothing in the fridge. Reaper looked at Tyler. "How long has she been like this?" Tyler rubbed his eyes. "Yesterday she fell asleep and did not wake up. I gave Emma the last food we had. Mommy said she would fix everything, but she got too tired." Reaper steadied his voice. "You did the right thing coming to us." Ghost returned from the back. No damage. No signs of danger. Just a place left behind. Tank entered carrying the little girl. She is fine, tired, hungry. Reaper lifted the woman's hand. It was cold. She is dehydrated. We need an ambulance now. Bull dialed immediately, sending location. They say help is on the way. Tyler stood near the door, shaking. Is she going to die? Reaper moved to him. Not if we help her in time. Ghost brought a small bottle of water. Only a sip, no more. Reaper touched the woman's shoulder gently. You are not alone. Help is coming. The little girl let out a soft cry. Tank rocked her slowly. Easy, little one. You are safe now. Bull looked at Reaper. This family has nothing. No power, no food, no support. Reaper nodded. We fix what we can today. The rest comes later. Tyler tugged at Reaper's vest. Please do not leave us. Reaper looked around the small trailer, the fading paint, the empty shelves, the bruised fear in a child's eyes. We are not leaving. Not today. Not ever, until you are safe. Outside, the distant wail of an ambulance began to rise. Tank stepped to the window. They are close. Reaper carried the mother toward the front door as the sirens grew louder. We stay with them, he said softly, every step of the way. The ambulance pulled in. Paramedics rushed forward. The bikers stepped aside but stayed close. Tyler stood beside Reaper, gripping his hand. Please help her, he whispered. And the men who looked like outlaws stood guard, ready to fight for a family they had met only minutes ago. The paramedics lifted Tyler's mother onto a stretcher and secured her gently. Her breathing was shallow. Her skin was pale. Tyler stood frozen beside her, his hands trembling. One paramedic knelt in front of him. We are taking her to the hospital now. She will get the care she needs. Tyler swallowed hard. Can I come? The paramedic hesitated. Reaper stepped beside the boy. He is coming. The paramedic glanced at the group of bikers behind him. Only one adult can ride along. Reaper nodded. Snake, you go with him. Snake climbed into the ambulance without a word. Tyler clung to his mother's hand as they loaded her inside. The doors shut. The siren rose. The ambulance pulled away with Snake and Tyler inside, fading into the distance. Tank held the little girl, Emma, close to his chest. She needs food. Bull opened the dusty cabinet. Nothing here. Ghost checked the sink. No running water. Reaper stood in the center of the small room. All right. Listen, we are not waiting for permission to help this family. Tank nodded. What do you need? Bull answered first. Groceries, formula, diapers, Ghost added, clean clothes. Reaper pointed to the breaker box. Power first, water next. They cannot come home to this. They split up. Chains drove into town to find supplies. Viper made calls to contacts who owed him favors. Hammer started clearing the kitchen, removing old containers and trash. Tank set Emma in a clean blanket and gently rocked her until she calmed. Reaper walked into the hallway. Tyler's small room had a thin blanket on the floor. Drawings covered the worn fabric, a stick figure family, a boy, a girl, a mother. The father had been scribbled out. Hard, angry lines covered his face. Reaper knelt and touched the drawing gently. He whispered, We will fix this place for you, kid. Ghost entered behind him. The father is gone. No sign of a man living here. Reaper sighed. Then these kids have only their mother left. After an hour, Chains returned with bags of groceries. His arms were full. Got everything. Store manager did not ask questions. Tank took the formula and held Emma steady while feeding her small sips. She drank quickly, desperate for food. Hammer wiped the counter clean. This place can be made livable, just needs work. Viper walked in. Electricity is coming back. My guy says he will switch it on within the hour. Bull checked the water valve. We can get water if we pay the bill. Reaper pulled out his wallet. Then we pay it. As they worked, the room felt lighter. The air shifted. Hope crept in slowly. Ghost stepped outside after finishing a call. Ambulance reached the hospital. Snake says she is stable, but still weak. Reaper nodded. Good. We just need time. Emma finished her bottle and fell asleep in Tank's arms. Small hands curled around his vest. Tank whispered, "She trusts us already." Reaper looked at his brothers. "We stay together on this." Bull agreed. "These kids need us," Hammer added. "We will not walk away." Reaper took a slow breath. When Tyler comes home, he deserves a place that feels safe. Ghost looked toward the hospital, and a reason to believe people can still show up. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows through the open door. The old trailer was beginning to look like a home again, but Reaper knew the hardest part was still ahead. A child had trusted them, and they intended to honor that trust. The sun had set by the time the bikers finished cleaning the trailer. Lamps glowed softly now that the power had been restored. Fresh groceries filled the shelves. The air no longer smelled stale. It smelled lived in, almost warm. Tank placed Emma in the new crib they had assembled. She slept peacefully, her breathing steady. Bull wiped sweat from his forehead. Looks like a real home again. Viper nodded, at least for tonight. Reaper stepped outside for a moment and listened to the quiet. The field stretched out in front of him, dark and calm. He thought of Tyler in the hospital, standing beside his mother with fear in his eyes. He thought of the way the boy clung to him, desperate for someone to stay. Ghost approached from behind. Hospital called. She woke up for a minute. Reaper turned quickly. How is she? Weak, but alive. Reaper let out a slow breath. Good. Tyler needs that. Inside, Hammer finished washing the last dish and placed it carefully on the shelf. We should rest in shifts. Someone has to stay with Emma through the night. Tank raised his hand. I will stay. She seems calm with me. Bull laughed softly. She thinks you are a giant teddy bear. Reaper sat at the small kitchen table and looked around at his brothers. We said yes to this boy today. That means something. Ghost leaned against the wall. It means we are involved now. Reaper nodded. And we do not walk away. There was a knock at the door. The men straightened immediately. Viper moved fast and peered through the window. It is a neighbor. Reaper sighed. Let him in. An older man stepped inside. He wore worn boots and carried a lantern. Evening. Saw the lights back on. Thought the place was empty. Reaper nodded. Family lives here. The man hesitated. The mother has been sick. Kid's been alone for days. Folks noticed. But no one knew what to do. Tank frowned. You could have checked on them. The man lowered his gaze. People get afraid to get involved these days. Reaper spoke calmly. Well, we are involved now. The man nodded slowly. If you need tools or a truck, I can lend a hand. Not much, but it is something. Bull smiled faintly. We appreciate it. The man left, his lantern flickering across the yard. Ghost closed the door. Too many people looked away. Reaper answered. That is why we are here. Hours later, the house was quiet. Tank rocked Emma gently while the others rested. Reaper sat awake, unable to shake the image of Tyler running across the pavement toward them. A child should never have to carry that much fear. His phone buzzed, a message from Snake at the hospital. Mother stable. Tyler asleep beside her. Reaper typed back, "Stay with them. We are ready here." Morning came slowly. Soft light slipped into the trailer. Emma woke with a small sound. Tank lifted her, speaking in a gentle voice. "Good morning, little one. We are still here." Hammer brewed a pot of coffee. "So what now?" Reaper answered without hesitation. "We go to the hospital. The mother needs to see we are not leaving." When the bikers arrived, Tyler sat in a chair beside his mother's bed. His small hand rested on hers. When he saw the men walk in, he jumped to his feet and ran straight to Reaper. "You came back." Reaper knelt so they were eye level. "We promised." Tyler held tight to him. "Mommy was scared when she woke up. I told her you helped us." The mother opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was weak. "Are you the men who saved my children?" Reaper shook his head. "Your son saved you. We only followed him home." She tried to sit up, and Hammer stepped forward to guide her gently. "Do not push yourself." Her eyes filled with tears. "I do not know how to thank you." Viper spoke softly. "Get better. That is enough." Tyler climbed onto the bed beside her and held her arm. "They fixed our home, Mommy. They fed Emma. They made everything okay." The mother looked at the group of rough men standing in her small hospital room. "Why would you do this? You do not even know us." Reaper looked at her, steady and sincere. "Your son asked for help." He paused. "And sometimes life gives you one moment to do the right thing." The room fell silent. For the first time in a long time, Tyler's family was not alone. The hospital room was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. Morning light filtered through the blinds, warming the pale walls. Tyler sat close to his mother, holding her hand as if letting go might make everything fall apart again. The bikers stood nearby, giving the family space, but staying within reach. The doctor entered with a clipboard. "She is stable, but she needs rest, hydration, and proper nutrition." Reaper asked, "How long before she can go home?" "Maybe 2 or 3 days. But she must not be alone with the children. She needs help." Tank crossed his arms. "She will have it." The doctor glanced at the group. It was clear he did not know what to make of them. "You all relatives." Bull answered, "Family takes many forms." The doctor nodded slowly and left the room. Tyler looked at Reaper with hopeful eyes. "Can we stay together when Mommy comes home?" Reaper crouched beside him. "We will do everything we can." Later that afternoon, a woman from social services arrived. Her neat clothes and serious expression did not soften when she saw the bikers. "I am Patricia Santos. I am here to evaluate the situation." Ghost stepped forward. "Then start with this. The boy found us because no one else listened." Patricia examined the mother's chart, checked on Emma, then looked at Tyler. "Have you felt unsafe in your home?" Tyler shook his head. "Not with them. They stayed with us. They did not leave." Patricia turned to Reaper. "3 of you have records." Reaper held her gaze. "Old mistakes. We do not hide them. But we showed up when no one else did." Patricia looked conflicted. This is not a normal arrangement. Bull spoke calmly. Nothing about what happened to this family was normal either. She exhaled slowly. "I should place the children in temporary care, but separating them would cause harm, and your involvement has kept them safe." Reaper asked, "What do you need from us?" She scanned her notes. Weekly check-ins, stable conditions at home, no signs of danger. Reaper nodded. Done. Patricia left the room, leaving the air heavy but hopeful. Tyler turned to the bikers. "Does that mean we can stay together?" Reaper smiled faintly. "It means we have a chance. And we are not wasting it." When Tyler's mother drifted back to sleep, the bikers stepped into the hallway. Hammer asked, "What is the plan?" Reaper answered, "We divide shifts. Some stay with the mother and Tyler here. Some stay at the trailer with Emma. We make sure everything stays stable until she is strong enough. Tank agreed. That little girl needs calm. I will stay with her tonight. Ghost rested his hands in his pockets. What about the father? Reaper looked at him sharply. Find out what you can. Ghost nodded once and walked away down the hall. By evening, the bikers returned to the trailer. Emma slept in Tank's arms again, warm and peaceful. Bull and Chains cooked dinner. Hammer fixed a loose door hinge. Viper replaced a broken outlet. The home was beginning to feel alive again. Reaper stood outside and watched the sunset. Orange and gold painted the horizon. He thought about the boy who had sprinted across a parking lot begging strangers for help. He thought about how easily they could have ignored him. Ghost returned later, his voice low. I found the father, living in another state, new job, new apartment, left the family weeks ago and never looked back. Reaper's jaw tightened. He walked away from children who were starving. Ghost nodded. Yes. Reaper closed his eyes for a moment. Then he is no father at all. Tank approached, holding Emma. She is awake, wants company. Reaper took the child gently. Hey, little one. Emma reached for his vest and smiled. Bull spoke from the doorway. Look at us, tough men turning into babysitters. Tank laughed. Better than letting these kids fall apart. Reaper looked at the home around him. The lights, the stocked shelves, the quiet safety. We do not let them fall. Not on our watch. That night, as Emma slept and the others rested, Reaper sat alone in the small living room. The silence was soft, no longer empty. He thought about the days ahead, the challenges, the checks, the scrutiny. But he also thought about the promise he made to Tyler, a promise to stay, a promise to protect, a promise to fight for them. He whispered into the quiet room, "We are not done yet. Not until this family has a future again." The next morning brought a calm the house had not felt in months. Sunlight slipped through the clean curtains. Emma played with a small toy Tank had bought her. Tyler had returned home from the hospital with Snake and now sat at the small table, eating real breakfast. His mother was still recovering at the hospital, but her condition had improved enough to give everyone hope. Reaper watched the boy carefully. How are you holding up, Tyler? The child nodded slowly. Better. I just want Mommy to come home. She will, Reaper answered, and when she does, she will find everything ready. Bull entered carrying a bag of tools. We have a few things left to fix. Hammer looked toward the old water heater. That is one of them. The men worked through the morning. They tightened pipes, replaced weak boards, repaired a broken latch on the front door. Every repair was a promise. Every noise from their tools was a sign that the home was becoming safe again. Tyler watched them, quiet and observant. You do all this for us. Tank lifted Emma. Family helps family. Later that afternoon, Patricia Santos returned for her check-in. She stepped inside the trailer and stopped. The home smelled clean. The refrigerator was full. The rooms were organized. Emma giggled from Tank's arms. Tyler stood tall beside Reaper. Patricia adjusted her glasses. This is a significant change. Reaper replied calmly. We said we would take responsibility. She walked through the rooms, checking water pressure, lights, food, safety. When she returned to the living room, she looked at the men with a different expression. I need to be clear. This is still an unusual situation. Bull answered. Unusual does not mean unsafe. Patricia looked at Tyler. Do you feel safe here? Tyler nodded without hesitation. They helped us when no one else did. Patricia gave a slow exhale. Very well. I will approve the next 30 days. Weekly visits. No lapses. Reaper nodded. Understood. After she left, Tyler wrapped his arms around Reaper. Thank you. Reaper placed a hand on the boy's back. You saved your mother's life. We are just helping you finish what you started. 2 days later, Tyler's mother returned home. She stepped inside with careful steps. Still weak, but standing. When she saw the clean rooms, the fixed walls, the full shelves, she covered her mouth in disbelief. Tyler ran to her. "Mommy." She hugged him tight, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I cannot believe this." Reaper stepped forward. "You do not owe us anything. We just want you steady again." She looked around the room at the men who had changed her family's future. "I thought I had no one left." Bull shook his head. "You do now." Over the next weeks, life slowly rebuilt itself. The bikers rotated shifts. They helped with meals. They helped with errands. They helped with the fear that lingered in every corner of the home. The children began to laugh again. Emma learned to say new words. Tyler slept without waking in the night. Reaper stood outside one evening, watching the sun set. Ghost joined him silently. "You think they will be all right?" Reaper nodded. "They will. And if they stumble, we will be here." Inside, Tyler's mother stepped out onto the porch. "I do not know how to repay this." Reaper turned toward her. "Live your life. Raise your kids. That is enough." She looked at the bikers who had become something more than strangers. "You saved us." Reaper shook his head gently. "Your son saved you. We only answered when he called." Tyler stepped out beside his mother and held her hand. "Are you staying with us?" Reaper knelt so he could look into the boy's eyes. "We will always be close." Tyler smiled for the first time without fear. As the night settled, the bikers prepared to leave. Engines warmed. Leather jackets settled into place. Reaper looked back at the family standing in the doorway. "If you need us, call." Tyler lifted a small hand. "I will." The bikes rolled down the road, their engines humming steadily. The family watched until the last one disappeared into the distance. In the quiet that followed, Tyler whispered, "They came when we needed them." His mother held him close. "Yes, and good people like that do not disappear." Far down the road, Reaper felt the wind on his face. He knew this was not the end. It was only the beginning of a story where kindness had changed a life, and a little boy's bravery had changed them all. Ending line for voiceover. Sometimes the strongest heroes are the ones who choose to stop when a child calls for help.